Welcome to our fully online English 3000 course. I'm your instructor, Michelle St. George, and today we're going to be looking at the course syllabus as well as the course agenda, and I'll also be going over some need-to-know information about our course. Okay, so first things first, let's go ahead and go into our Blackboard page, and if you click on the Blackboard English 3000, and go to the syllabus here, you're going to see our course syllabus. And this really is a roadmap for you to follow throughout our course. It's going to give you all of our course objectives, the course requirements. It's going to talk about the portfolio, and it also offers the course schedule or course agenda. So I strongly encourage you to have a printout of our course syllabus or have it readily available on your laptop, as you will need to reference it regularly. Today I'm going to go through the syllabus with you, and I encourage you to stick with me even if you need to take breaks, because it will be a rather long overview. Please feel welcome to, but you will need to complete the video overall. Okay, so just some basics. My office is located in the music building on campus, and I will have office hours on Wednesday from noon to 1 p.m. by appointment and online. Since this is a fully online course, I know that some of you will not be able to come to campus for office hours. That's fine. We can meet via Skype, which I'll be talking about in just a bit, if you do have questions. Okay, so our required text is They Say, I Say. It looks like this. And I recommend the third edition, but I know that there are free copies of the second edition available online. And so if you need to work through the second edition, that's completely fine. Sometimes the page numbers are a little bit off, but most of the material is the same. Other required materials are the Respondus Lockdown Browser. And if you go into our weekly folder, week 1, I have a tutorial on the Respondus Lockdown Browser. But essentially what Respondus Lockdown Browser is it's a browser just like Internet Explorer or Google Chrome. But the interesting thing about it is it locks down your computer so that you can't navigate to other pages, web pages, or look up information during a timed exam. So you'll notice that there are 3 timed exams, part of the English 3000 course, part of all English 3000 courses. And those, since we're fully online, will not be proctored. Instead, you'll use the Respondus browser in order to complete the exam. And essentially what that does is it sort of pushes students not to look up sources, which you are not allowed to do during the exam. Instead, you simply focus on your writing. So please make sure to get the Respondus lockdown browser as soon as possible. It is a free download, and I do have the link here as well as on our Blackboard page, so please make sure to download that as soon as possible, as you will need it for the first timed examination. Okay, so course description, I encourage you to read it, but I want to point out a few specific things here. So English 3000 is a first chair course aimed at helping students be able to write proficiently. For students who complete our course and receive a clear competence or a score of 8 on their final portfolio, which I'll talk about in just a moment, not only will you complete the course, but you'll also fulfill your UWSR requirement. Right? So I'll talk about the portfolio requirements in just a bit, but I do want to note here that the portfolio that you submit at the end of the term, it's a compilation of the writing that you do in our class. However, I do not evaluate it. Instead, it's evaluated by a university faculty committee. right? So we'll do the preparation in this course, you'll receive a course grade, but then you'll actually submit your portfolio to that committee, which I'll have instructions on at the end of the course. Okay, and just a little note, in this section of English 3000, you'll notice that the issues we're exploring and the readings that we do will be related to issues of the environment and environmental justice. And I hope that this context or this overarching theme helps you stay focused on a specific topic. That way you're not having to navigate different topics, and instead you can focus on that one topic. Okay, here are our course objectives, and our course objectives are the same objectives that the UWSR committee uses when they're evaluating your portfolio. So essentially, if you meet our course objectives, if you're able to do these things, then your writing reflects that, then you should be in good shape for the UWSR portfolio. So I encourage you to pause the video now and look at those course objectives. Okay, course requirements. So there are going to be, as I mentioned earlier, 3 timed essays throughout the quarter. And these all will be facilitated online using the Respondus Lockdown browser. The prompts will be available in Blackboard, and you'll have an hour and 50 minutes to respond to each of those timed essays. And they'll happen at the beginning of the course, at the midway point of the course, and then at the end of the course. And so do make sure that you can carve out a space for each of those timed essays to sit and write for an hour and 50 minutes without a break. Okay. Along with that, along with the 3 timed essays, you'll have 2 major out-of-class essays. These are multi-draft essays that require a first draft and a second draft, as well as a final draft. You'll also have a reflective essay. This actually introduces and reflects on your final portfolio that you'll be putting together at the end of the course. And then finally, you'll see conference participation. Throughout the course, you're going to meet with me twice to talk about your writing and to look at those major essays. And that is part of our course requirement. Okay. Now, you do need to complete all coursework in order to pass the course, in order to get credit for the course. And also, your portfolio, it will need to contain all of the required items in order to receive credit for that portfolio. So do make sure that you're completing all tasks on time. Okay, final grade breakdown, it's credit, no credit for our course. Confidentiality. So your grades will be available to you on Gradebook, which is located in our Blackboard page here under My Grades. So please don't email to ask about your grades, and I can't actually release them via email. Instead, just look them up on My Gradebook, which is available on Blackboard. Okay, so attendance, lateness, and participation. So obviously it's a fully online class, so there is no attendance like there would be in a face-to-face course. However, you'll notice that each week in the weekly folder tab here, you'll have a week. So for week 1, you'll have a folder for week 2. And then within that weekly folder, there's always going to be 2 days. Obviously, week 1, you'll start with day 1, day 2, and then in week 2, day 3, day 4, etc. And you'll need to make sure that you're showing up and completing all of the items in that weekly folder. So for example, in day 2, if you opened it up, you would see major essay prompt. That's not for you to complete the whole thing, but to begin looking at. You'll watch my lecture, what is evaluative writing. You'll complete the criteria sheet. You'll look at our Exploring the Thesis PDF, and then some sample thesis statements from former students. You'll look at those. So essentially, each week you need to make sure that you're completing all of the items in the weekly folder. That's what's showing that you're showing up and doing the work and participating. Okay, so again, here's that in-class timed essay component. once again, make sure that you're downloading the Respondus browser, because that is the only browser that allows you to take those timed essays. So make sure that you do that as soon as possible. Okay, the out-of-class essays, this is a bit more of an in-depth explanation of them. So for each major essay, you need to do 2 drafts before your final. Okay, one is going to be with a SCA tutor, and then one is going to be with me. Now, something that's really great about our section of English 3000 is we actually have an embedded SCA tutor named Matt, who will be introducing himself later on in the course, and you'll actually be able to schedule appointments with him to fulfill that SCA requirement. For those of you who don't know what the SCA is, it is our Student Achievement Center with our Writing Center in it. And they do have an online writing lab. So if you can't get an appointment with Matt, or if you can't go into the SCA physically, which is located on the 2nd floor of the library, then you can also submit your essay to the online writing lab and get online feedback. Okay, so that's one of the drafts you'll do, is the SCA or the peer tutor draft. But then you'll also be meeting with me in a conference session to talk about your work and to get feedback from me on your writing. Okay. So reflective essay, at the very end of the course, you will write a reflective essay that reflects on your portfolio and introduces it and reflects on what you've been doing in the quarter and how you've grown as a writer. Okay, so here's a little bit more information about the SCA as well as the link. I encourage you might take a pause here to check out the SCA a little bit more deeply if you do have questions about it. Okay, so this is the portfolio section of the syllabus, which you should get familiar with. If you have to pause right now and look at this, I encourage you to do so. Essentially, this is every item that will go into the final portfolio at the end of the course. All of the writing pieces we'll be working on throughout the course. So as long as you're keeping up with the materials and with your writing, you'll have no problem completing that portfolio at the end of the term. You'll notice that the prompts, the actual assignments go in there, your final drafts of every essay, Turnitin.com originality reports go in there, which I'll talk about much later on, as well as those certified timed essays. Those timed essays, you'll have 3 of them, okay? So here are the portfolio criteria. Essentially, these are the scores that you will receive by the UWSR Portfolio Committee. Okay, so let's look at them. So limited competence, this is the lowest score that a student can receive. If you receive an LC, a limited competence, then you actually have to retake English 3000. Students that score in this range tend to, their portfolio tends to be quite struggling, so a lot of the materials might not be proficient yet. So this is a student who would have to retake English 3000. Then we have our developing competence, our DC students. And these are our students who are going to go on to English 3003, the second tier, the second part of the English 3000 series. So many students fall into that range, and these are students who are still developing their writing skills and need a bit more practice and just need to take that one final class. And then finally, we have our clear competence, our CC. And if you receive a CC on your portfolio that shows that you are a proficient writer, that you can complete a coherent draft or a coherent essay in class in a time setting as well as in a multi-draft setting, and if you receive a clear competence on your portfolio, then you've met your UWSR requirement. And you don't need to take the WST anymore. You don't need to take any more English classes. You're done. Okay. Turnitin.com. So you do have to submit your essays online to Turnitin.com. However, I have embedded Turnitin.com into our Blackboard page, so you don't need to sign up for a Turnitin.com account. Instead, it's a very easy process where when an essay is due, a little portal will appear in a weekly folder, and you'll just upload your essay right into the Turnitin.com portal. It's very easy. So you don't need to have a Turnitin.com account. That's all part of the Blackboard suite. Okay. So Blackboard, to go back to our Blackboard page, this really is, in an online class, our classroom. So I encourage you to get comfortable with this space. One of the most important pieces is the weekly folder tab. By week 10, there'll be 10 weekly folders, right? And each week you'll need to complete the assignments and the materials in that folder. So this week, week 1, you'll need to complete all items in the week 1 folder. During week 2, you'll need to complete all items in the week 2 folder. Blackboard is also where our syllabus is found, as well as your grades. So please get familiar with that. Okay, conferences and Skype. So the way that we do conferences or office hours is often online, and we use a program called Skype, which is completely free. It's a free download. And what it allows us to do is meet face-to-face online, right? So before March 29th, I'm asking you to send me a Skype request. And here, Michelle_St. George at hotmail.com, that's my Skype contact. So if you once you've downloaded Skype, you can search for that contact and you'll see me pop up. I'm in a green dress working with a student, and you can just add me as a contact. And please do so by March 29th. Just another important note, during the conferences, that's where I get to give you feedback, and that's where you get to ask me questions. Before the conference, you'll need to send the draft, the writing that you've been working on, so that I have something to look at and give you feedback on, right? You'll send that to me via my CSU East Bay email. And remember that feedback that I give you during the conferences, I'll be typing it up, you need to save that feedback for your portfolio. The portfolio committee wants to see what we were actually working on. So any drafts that I send to you, please make sure to save. Okay, grievance policy. Hey, if you have an issue or something comes up, please make sure to contact me first. I'm your first point of contact. So, we can schedule an office hour appointment or meet on Skype and talk through the issue. If we can't sort out the problem, then we'll meet with the coordinator of composition to discuss the problem. But generally speaking, if you contact me, we'll do our best to work it out. Okay, so plagiarism and academic honesty. Please, if you're ever considering, buying a paper or getting, too much help from someone else, contact me first. Let me know what's going on so that I can, talk with you and learn about the problem, and we can work out a plan of action. At plagiarizing or buying a paper, it's not only ethically irresponsible, but it's also going to guarantee that you don't pass our course. So please don't do that. And if you're considering it, contact me, and just know that if you contact me and say you're considering it, that's not something that I would report. Instead, we would just discuss the problem. If you did commit plagiarism, if you did buy a paper, or if you did use someone else's words, without really citing them or acknowledging them, then I would have to submit an academic dishonesty report. The question comes up, what is plagiarism? It's nothing to be frightened of. As long as you're clearly distinguishing between your words and the words of others, or the ideas of others, you're in good shape. So those phrases like, according to, and as so-and-so says, and using quotation marks and citations, what we're looking for, to make sure that we understand, okay, this is where the students' ideas are, and this is where the support and sources ideas are. So just make sure you are doing your due diligence to show that difference. Okay. Students with disabilities, hey, if you have a documented disability, please get in touch with me so that we can discuss your accommodations, and I'm very happy to work with you. Just please make sure you let me know so that we can make appropriate accommodations. Finally, with etiquette, please be mindful of what you're writing, right? Make sure that you're respectful of folks, especially in our class. And final note, please don't waste my time or your peers' time by writing frivolously. Make sure that you're writing with purpose, and that you're proofreading and thinking about your prose. And thinking about your audience's needs, because if you wait to the last minute and sort of bust something out, that can be an issue, and it shows that you're not doing your due diligence. So I'm committed to helping you with your work and to help you grow as writers, but make sure that you're also committed to doing that work and are putting forth the effort to grow as a writer. Okay, so final thing, we're nearing the end. Okay. So this is our course schedule / course agenda. And essentially our entire course is mapped out for you. So you'll notice that the week, for example, week 1 or week 2, that corresponds with the weekly folders here. So the weekly assignments, they're listed here. They're also in the weekly folder. But if you want to see what's coming up, I encourage you to look at the course agenda, or even have it printed, as it goes through every assignment, every conference, every drafting day, every SCA appointment. It's all there for you. And you'll notice that each week is broken into 2 days. So day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, etc. And this is just to make the course a little bit digestible, so that you're never having to complete an entire weekly folder, in one day. Instead, you have sort of 4 days to complete the first day, and then three days to complete the second day, which I think just makes it a little bit more digestible. Okay, so that finishes our overview of the syllabus and the course agenda. If you have further questions, I encourage you to contact me via email. And my email, I'll just go back to that really quickly. That's located at the top of the page here. And I'm very good about getting back to you if you send me an email within 48 hours. If you send me an email in the morning, I'll likely get back to you much quicker than that. If you send me an email at 9 p.m. on Friday, that might take a little bit more time. But I'm fairly good at responding to emails quickly. If you do send an email to me and I didn't get back to you, please send that again. Something's happened if I didn't respond to you immediately. Okay, guys. Well, I will see you in the week 1 lectures, and also at our conferences and via email. And I look forward to doing so soon here. Bye.